The government has reconstituted the Tax Appeal Tribunal. That was out of the news. That goes across the Federation. But I'm wondering why this Tax Tribunal is now being put in place. Does it have anything to do with the just concluded tax amnesty?
Well, it has to do, but I must say that this is not new to the Nigerian tax system. We used to have the old tribunal system that cater for VAT dispute. We used to have the VAT tribunal that used to be in the country prior to 2007. We also have the body of Tax Appeal Commissioner that also used to deal with direct tax cases for companies and individuals. But in 2007, when the FRS Establishment Act was introduced, those two bodies were disbanded, and then we introduced the Tax Appeal Tribunal. In 2010, they were actually constituted for a term of 3 years, and it was extended for another 3 years. So in 2016, that old body got disbanded, and that's where we've had the gap between 2016 and now.
Do you think there are genuine cases? Is the appeal tribunal for me as a citizen or as an organization, or the government could take me to the tribunal and say, Boason, you have a case to answer?
No, it's actually both ways. So, and I think much more than even the government, I think it's a lot to the benefit of the taxpayers. Traditionally, you will see that the tax authority will typically take positions that tend to support the cause of making more revenue. And I mean, just like it is with any other laws, there are cases where there are gray issues, where there are disputes, where there are disagreements. And if you can't get that resolved, through the administrative process of engaging with the revenue authorities, you have, an administrative body that you could channel that grievance to, and that's what the Tax Appeal Tribunal is meant to.
And that's where the tax professionals and lawyers who specializes in tax laws come in.
That's right, but this is actually not restricted to lawyers. So an aggrieved taxpayer, like you said, it could be an individual, it could be a company represented by its director, it could be a partnership represented by one of its partners. You can actually self-represent yourself at the tribunal, but you also have the right to choose a lawyer or a chartered accountant or chartered tax practitioner, or tax administrator and advisor to help you with that case.
Do you think we are restructuring the landscape as far as tax matters are concerned?
We are.
It's a very naughty issue anywhere in the world, even in the United States.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. So if you look at what's been happening over the last 2 or 3 years in the country, you will realize that there's a new awakening, around how to deepen the tax system, from the revised policy to amnesty to some amendments and bills that have been proposed, some changes being done through executive orders. And now for 2 years, taxpayers have actually waited for an opportunity to be able to deal with tax disputes. We have many cases that were pending with the tribunal when the old body was disbanded. So now there's an opportunity for those cases to be taken up afresh and for taxpayers to be able to seek redress.
How will it be structured and or be operated?
Okay, so based on the establishment order for the Tax Appeal Tribunal, we have 8 divisions spread across each of the 6 geopolitical zones.
Like the Court of Appeal system.
Absolutely. And in addition to that, you also have one sitting in Lagos and one sitting in the Federal Capital Territory. So there are actually 8 divisions of the
6
Tax Appeal
geopolitical zones. Lagos has one, and
Abuja has one more, making 8. There are 5 commissioners, tax appeal commissioners, that you have seated in each of those divisions with a chair who is supposed to be an experienced legal practitioners, and the people are brought from retired tax administrators, businessmen who are well versed in tax cases, constitute the cases, and a minimum of 3 of them will sit to review cases brought to their attention.
In other words, the tax tribunal is next to you.
That's correct. Absolutely. So you have someone who will give a listening ear if the tax authorities have taken a position and have raised an assessment on you that you think is unjustifiable.
So you don't have to go to Abuja or come to Lagos?
No, not well. You go to the division that is closest to you. So if your business is in Lagos, you take your case to the TAT in Lagos. If you're within the South zone, there's one in Benin. Kaduna has one. There is one in Oyo, in Ibadan for the Southwest, and in each of the other geopolitical zones.
What does it mean, or what would it mean for taxpayers?
No, I think it's a way to instill confidence. If you have a tax system, you must be able to let the taxpayer have a sense of fairness. That if I disagree with the revenue authorities, there is an independent arbiter that could listen to me and help me adjudicate on the matter. So it's a way of instilling confidence into the tax system. So you no longer need to bow to the whims of the tax authorities. You could take your case up and seek justice.
In terms of the entire tax system and the economy, we're still not top end, as it were.
It would be right to say so, but I think we're making some very remarkable incremental progress. Things are happening, not at the pace that you will expect, not the typical a complete overhaul of the system that we would typically have expected. But I think what we're having is making the most of what is available. What are the quick wins? What are the low-hanging fruits? How can we make the best of the existing system as we wait for a complete overhaul, maybe in the near future?
What makes tax harvest difficult for the Nigerian authorities?
It's a
what's the most important problem that we have with it?
I doubt if you can just single out a particular issue. There are myriads of issues, and there are a lot of interconnectivities. So if the government complains, for example, about low tax revenue, you then need to look at what is the base. So what is the operating environment like? Are business actually thriving? Because taxation is a fraction of the bottom line. So no matter how much noise we make, no matter how aggressive the tax authorities are, the business needs to be profitable before they will be liable to pay tax. Individuals need to earn income before they pay a fraction of their income. Business activities need to be going all around before VAT or custom duties could be charged. So there is one reason could be the sense of how the economy itself it's moving. And you will notice that from the time we went into recession and that gradual recovery that happened up until now, you will have seen comparable increase in the tax revenue. So there's one factor, which is the economic situation. There's also the challenges and the difficulties in paying tax itself. And that's what the government tried to address with the Enabling Business Environment Council initiatives, trying to automate the process. You can file your tax returns online now. You can make your taxes within the comfort of your home, and all of that. And then there are issues relating to gray issues, are tax law themselves. For the most part, these laws are very old. They've been in existence way back. Therefore, you're bound to have a lot of issues, a lot of disagreement, a lot of gray areas. So the tax authorities thinks you're supposed to pay X. The taxpayer says, no, that's not correct. That's not my own interpretation of the law. And that's where this judicial system, which will help to address many of those concerns. So it's a whole lot of components and moving parts.
As far as the tax tribunal is concerned, where is the final word? What's the status of a tax appeal, the Tax Appeal Tribunal, a Court of Appeal, or a Federal High Court status? All
right, so the Tax Appeal Tribunal sits like number 2 in an hierarchy of 5, for example, in the process of dealing with tax disputes. So your first port of call is the administrative process within the tax authority itself. So if a tax authority raises an assessment on you that you are displeased with, there are provisions within the law for you to raise an objection and provide your reasons for disagreeing with their position. And then you go through that process. In a number of times, that issue is resolved within the administrative mechanism within the FRS. When that fails, you move to the next point, which is the Tax Appeal Tribunal. So once the resolution process breaks down with the Revenue Authority and they have given an indication that they will refuse to amend the assessment, you take your dispute to the Tax Appeal Tribunal. If a judgment is raised, it's in your favor or not. If it's not in your favor and you're still displeased, then the next level is the Federal High Court. So you can appeal to the Federal High Court against an unpleasant decision or conclusion reached by the Tax Appeal Tribunal. And if you're still not satisfied, you have the Court of Appeal and ultimately to the Supreme Court.
Is the Tax Appeal Tribunal not tied to the wish of the Federal Inland Revenue Service?
That's an interesting question, and a number of taxpayers will probably have that kind of a sentiment. But what the system, what the tribunal is aimed to be, is irrespective of where the commissioners are coming from. Because I mean, if you look at the newly constituted team, there are a number of retired FRS directors, for example.
That's going to get me scared.
Yeah, so, but that's just maybe one, or in very few cases, 2 out of 5
so
members.
So that we don't have an overbearing FIRS.
Well, that's so
in the tax tribunal.
But unfortunately for us, we still need to pick from the pool of available expertise and resources that is available in the country. So the Establishment Act says you have an experienced lawyer who will typically be the head or the chair of the tribunal, and then you pick someone, a retired administrator, who also needs that administrative and bureaucracy experience to be able to bring that perspective to bear. Someone from the business community, a chartered accountant, maybe a chartered tax practitioner, and you have a blend of skill. So the expectation is that 1 out of 5 shouldn't be sufficient to influence negatively the decision of the entire body. So by and large, I expect some element of fairness in the decisions.
Okay. I'm sure you folks who are on the ground in the tax industry will keep an eye open if anyone is trying to do anything. But I think this is a blue ocean.
Absolutely so.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Pleasure.